Hi. Hello, this is Mimi here, and I'm joined by our guest speaker today, Mr. Danny Ho. Today is the day 2 of the 3-day case study discussion. So yesterday we kind of talked a little bit more in depth about immovable obstructions, but today it's going to be around the topic of ball moved by outside influence. And there will be 3 interesting cases that we'll look at today. So before starting, let me introduce you to Mr. Danny Ho. He is also my dad, and he is a level 3 certified RNA rules official. So traveled to St. Andrews to get certified and passed exam for the 3rd level, which is the highest of the ruling certification. So my dad is also a member of the Hong Kong GA rules team. Been officiating for years now. I don't know how many years. It's been a long time.
A few years, yes.
Yeah, but covering junior, adult, international, and just local tournaments all around. So thanks again for joining us today. And let's go through what our outline would be for today's presentation. Again, there will be 3 particular case studies that are about ball influenced by outside kind of agents. Yeah. So without further ado, let's jump into our very first one. I do have a video that you can see on screen. However, we will mute it. And it's interesting because this happened in 1998, recorded, and a ball actually stole a player's ball. A bird stole a player's ball on the green. And later on in the video, what you'll find is that the bird actually took flight with it. So you see the players are actually walking to the green now. They're like, oh my goodness, what's going on? And yeah, this kind of happens. A bird in the rules book what would they be
outside influence? Yes.
So outside influence, right? Yeah. Okay, so the bird you see here, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Still pecking away. They're the players are kind of just dumbfounded, right? Like, what's going on here? And let's see here. Boom. So look at this. So the bird actually took flight and dumped it into the water. So in this video, it doesn't show, but what happened next is the rules official got called and they replaced the ball.
Yes. Obviously the ball was on the green already, right? But the thing is, you have to estimate where the ball was on the green. So you have to estimate the spot and replace the ball on that spot.
Okay.
And then play your next shot. That's all. It's kind of simple, but it's very interesting. It's kind of funny.
And it is really funny. I think most people in this case would just think that the ball is a lost cause. They will have to play it as a lost ball or take a penalty, right?
Well, actually, that's what I heard a long time ago. Before I got into rules, and people told me that okay, if your ball got lost, picked up by somebody else or an animal, the dog, whatever, and then it's got lost, just like this case, the bird dumped the ball into the water, so the ball deemed to be into the that was a water hazard,
right?
That's what they call it before, right? But it's not true.
And again, like, it doesn't show in the video, but instead of dropping the ball and replace it to the estimate area, what would you do?
On the green, that you just place the ball.
Okay, so you can use any golf ball.
Yeah, anyone. You can substitute another one if the first one is not found. So it's kind of simple. Even on the fairway, a general area, when something like that happened, all you have to do just place the ball onto the spot.
So you do not drop it in the case of replacing the ball in its original space.
Right.
Okay.
You don't have to drop it there.
All right. So I think this is a pretty particular but unique case that could happen to anybody. Yeah. And in the rules book, it says to estimate to, like, in the kind of reasonable judgment as to where the ball is. So how would that, what specifies as?
Okay, now
a
For
reasonable
example,
judgment.
say a case like this is kind of really rare, right?
Mhm,
But say in Kaohsiung in Hong Kong,
mhm.
and in some cases, the ball might be picked up by a dog.
Okay.
They have dogs all over the course over there,
Yes,
right?
they do.
And they might pick up the ball and they might just play around in the bunker, and then the position of your ball would be moved, right? So you have to estimate where your ball first landed inside the bunker, But
Mhm.
if you, in case you can't see anything, because it's 150 or 170 yards away, so you just have to estimate. But as long as you can see the dog there. So see, he was messing around with the sand and dog, because that happened to me once. The dog was rolling around and he was playing with the ball. So
Oh,
you have to estimate, okay, my ball should be, say, a little bit on the right. So just place the ball on the right.
would this also be the same case if your ball's in a penalty area?
Same thing.
So even if it's in the penalty area, it's a playable lie or
Right.
whatever it is, because you need to know where the ball is to measure
Right.
certain distances sometimes.
Yes.
So in that case, it would still be the same.
Same, yes.
It would not be deemed as.
No, it's very simple, just, but the basic thing is, we always talk about known
Mhm,
or virtually certain
mhm.
and regarding rules of golf. So when that exact spot or that the path or the flight of the ball was known to everybody, or to at least you, your player or your playing partner, that was the final position of the ball is known, or virtually certain means, say, you take a shot and the shot went left and there were some trees, but virtually you know that the ball would land beyond the trees and should be on the other fairway, something like that, right? So that's virtually certain, the ball. So it is not lost because you know your distance, you know the ball flight. So we have to take these two things into account, known or virtually certain.
Okay, great. So just to give a little bit of a recap, if you do want to get into the rules and where you can find it in the player's rules book, it would probably be in the region of Rule 9 or whatever it is. That's where you can find more information. Really covers about, the ball being lifted and perhaps defining more about what outside influence is. So what are kind of the more defining features of outside influence?
Outside influence could be animal,
Mhm.
your playing partner, your caddy, or even the golf cart, the buggy,
Yeah.
anything. When you hit something that is man-made or animals, they're all outside influence, except some of the things are loose impediment. For example, a leaf, a grass,
Soil.
yeah, and those are loose impediments. So there are differences, between the outside influence and loose impediment. A golf cart is not a golf.
Well, but isn't your caddy your partner? So technically, wouldn't they be influenced because?
Yes. See, for example, when if you take a shot, the shot hit the tree and bounces back and hit your caddy, that the ball should be played as it lies, because the ball hit your caddy. Your caddy is an outside influence, so it's no penalty, and there's no action should be taken after that. So just play the ball as it lies.
But there will be a penalty if your caddy decides to pick up your ball when it's at rest without marking or anything like that.
That is ball moved at rest. So if the ball is moved at rest by the player or his caddy, then the ball is deemed to be moved moved at rest, and you have to replace the ball back.
But wouldn't you also get a penalty, because
one stroke
that's
penalty
technically
for
your
that, yeah.
partner, your
Yes.
playing partner.
Yeah. Once you penalty for that, yes.
And I've included the other rule 13 here about the ball moved on the putting green, because
Okay.
that there is a difference when you mark the ball, you pick it up, you put it back to where it was, and then it moved
Okay,
by natural forces.
there are two cases, right? When you take a shot, it's on the green, and you walk over to the green, and as before you put the marker down and mark the ball and lift the ball, that's your intention, right?
Mhm.
But the ball moves. That at that time, do not touch the ball, because do not replace the ball to the back to the original spot, because the ball was moving because of natural forces, probably of the slope or some wind. Okay, but if you mark the ball and lift it, clean it, and replace the ball back and lift your marker, and the ball moves because of, again, maybe natural forces, but in that case, you have to replace the ball on back on the original.
I guess the
spot.
difference would be that when you replace the ball and then it moved, is that you haven't addressed it yet. So you have no intention of taking your backswing and making the
No,
stroke.
well, it's long before that, just even after you mark the ball and lift it and replace it and take the marker away, if the ball moves, you have to replace back. Okay, because the ball has been moved and replaced according to a rule.
Okay, great.
Right.
So I think that really covers in this case. So let's move on to the next one here. So here, the outside influence that's in question is a butterfly. What we'll see, so right now on the screen, you'll see that Harrington is actually on the next hole after something has happened on the last green. So he's trying to amend anything that happened on the previous hole before teeing off on the next hole, because if he hasn't corrected it, then he could result in a penalty there. So here, okay, you might not show as properly, but there is a butterfly that was next to the hole. So when he put the ball, the argument here is, what did the ball path get influenced because of the butterfly and it went into the hole or not? Because if it did, if it was influenced by the butterfly, he would have to replay the shot, right? So we see here, and then the butterfly kind of just, it flew away. But, if you go into details, you zoom in, the question again is, did the butterfly push the ball in, or was the ball already kind of on the path of going in and the butterfly just happened to be there?
Yeah, but when you take a closer look, and there was a very small butterfly or moth. It's very tiny, and judging from the distance of Harrington's ball, that little moth, the little moth shouldn't have the power to deflect the path of the ball. So that's why the rules official just ruled that there was the ball was hold out.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but I guess unlike the first case, if you're putting and then the ball's still in motion and a bird land on the green and push it with its beak, then you will have to replay
because the bird is big enough, it has enough power to deflect the ball, affect the path of the ball. But the moth, the tiny little thing. So I would say the judge was right.
I think Harrington did the right thing, at least to clear it up, because you don't want to go back to a scoring area and then get questioned about that. So, that's the luxury of having rules official, at the course for a big tournament.
Right.
But if you're just, messing around with your buddies, I definitely would, be sensible about it.
Right.
As you have discussed, if it's a moth, if it's a butterfly, if it's a fly that probably has nothing to do to influence the ball into doing whatever.
Okay, that's a little question. Okay. What if in the amateur tournament and you don't have rules official on the course? You have a tournament director back in the office, okay? The scoring office. I mean, in that case, I would suggest you play 2 balls. Okay, that one, you count that one as the ball, you hold out with that one now for that hole, and then probably you should play another one, and then report this instance when you're back to the scoring office, to the committee or tournament director. I think that would be a safe thing to do.
Mhm.
Okay, instead of just guessing, okay, well, what's happening? You know, I just know what to do.
Sure.
But for professional tournaments, of course, you know, you see rules officials all around.
Yeah, but this actually happened plenty of times playing in college golf, because sometimes we only might have one rules official.
Mm,
So rules official are on call. So obviously, if you have your coaches around, they can make the call and
right,
ask. But the thing is, you don't want to create any delays.
right, right.
So you just play 2 balls.
Yeah, you might have to wait for, say, 5 minutes. Or
Yeah, so
something.
that's a common practice, and I think that everybody should know that. Especially you don't want to, again, you don't want to hold up play and be the reason to just be slowing down the whole field. So this is a similar, it's kind of in the rule 11. If you want to look into the book, I've mentioned that there's full rules, because as you can see, Dad, if you want to show.
Okay, we have a book like.
Oh, I don't think it's showing, so it's blurry.
It's not so clear.
Here, oh, maybe. Okay, so this is actually the official guide to the rules of golf.
Yeah, it's much thicker, and there's some explanations, you know, for rules officials to study. So it basically covers all scenarios.
So everything more
situations, and,
specifically, whereas a player's guide would be more brief.
Yeah.
But you can definitely refer to even the full rules on the RNA website. So if you have the access to internet, sure, you can go ahead and check that out as well. Okay. So yeah, kind of a difference between counting the shots in general area and the green, if influenced by outside agent, right?
Like, yeah, see, in the general area, you know, when your ball hits something hits an outside influence, you know, the shot counts, and then you have to play the ball as a lies for the next shot. But when the ball's putting from the putting green, when the ball in motion hits an outside influence, that shot doesn't count. The player has to play that again. So in this case, you'll see it in the rules book. There's a lot of terminology: should, may, must. And in this case, you're on the green, you putt, and during its path, being subjugated to moving by an outside agent, then you must replay the shot. Play the shot again, yes. And or if you have forgotten and you didn't do those right things, hopefully you address it within the hole before you tee off on the next hole. Otherwise, you have to correct the errors. Yes, otherwise you'll get a general penalty, right? Well, if it's a serious breach, get DQ. Okay, this disqualification. But if it's not a serious breach, you get the general penalty of two strokes. Okay. So you have to add 2 strokes to your scorecard. Yes. Right. So we talked about outside agents that actually have the force enough to move the ball, to vary the ball path. So what if I'm on the putting green and I'm putting to the hole? Well, stupid me, I wasn't very thorough with, when I walk up to the hole and brush any debris or any loose impediment, or in this case, an outside influence that's a beetle, because that's also an animal, right? Yeah. So an animal, does it fall under loose impediment or no outside agent? A beetle is outside influence. Okay, so in that case, for example, I forgot to brush it away, and then when I putt, it actually hit the beetle. Then you have to cancel that stroke. So you have to replay it. Yes. Okay, so be smart. I think for most players, if you get too lazy, sometimes that could happen. You putt, and then the beetle previously was not in your path, but it crawled its way over. Yeah, you hit it, then. Well, it happens sometimes, yes. Yeah, yes. We see beetles and butterflies all over. Yes. So in that case, can you also talk about how to properly
remove loose impediments or
Okay,
outside influences
when
like
you're
that?
say on the putting green, this is kind of simple because on putting green you may mark and lift your ball and clean it. So the ball is not in play. So there's no ball in play on the putting green. So you can just brush away sand, pick up leaves, or and do anything you like, right? And then replace the ball and play your next shot, right? But before you lift the ball, you have to be careful. But the new set of rules is kind of very is much better than before. I would say that because it makes more sense. If you touch and move the ball or your marker on the putting green accidentally, there's no penalty.
Okay.
All right.
I guess my question is, some people actually, I think that this is something that everybody should be cautious of when you're moving loose impediment, specifically on the green, because you can't really do so in the general area. Loose impediment, soil, dew, or sand should not be removed in the general area, in your hitting area, especially your line of play. But on the putting green, you can do that. You have the luxury of doing that. So some people might actually test the surface.
Oh yeah, just be careful. As long as you're brushing away with sand or whatever, with the back of the hand gently, smoothly, it's okay. As long as you don't press anything down, because when you're pressing your hand down hard, it might change the surface of the putting green. So it might improve what, in a sense, maybe sometimes not improve it, but anyway, you alter the condition of the line of play. So that's a breach of rules. You get 2-stroke penalty for that. So just be gentle, and you can use a towel or use the back of the hand, and that's what we usually do to brush away some sand and loose impediment like leaves.
Can you use a putter to tap down sand on the green?
Gently, yes, but not tapping it with force. Otherwise, there's always it's a tricky situation, because you're causing your fellow competitor to question you.
I see.
This is to your disadvantage.
Right.
So just don't do that.
Yes.
Because even if you get away with that after ruling or whatever, but it might affect you mentally,
Sure.
So just don't do it. It's not a good practice to use a putter to I see a lot of people do that. They tap on the green, so it might alter the situation, the condition of the line of play.
But at the same time, you can repair spike marks.
You can after you repair your spike mark or ball mark, whatever, you may tap with your putter to restore the surface of the putting green.
Because in the previous rule, in the previous edition, you cannot repair spike marks.
Spike mark, no.
Yeah.
But now you can do that.
Okay,
yes.
Great. So let's move on to our last case study. So here we have Bryson, who was playing in the 2021 Tour Championship. So it might not be clear because I've muted the audio, but what happened was that I believe he hit his driver into kind of an audience area. And somebody actually picked up the ball and took it with them and walked away. Okay. But I guess Bryson is luckier because there's so many other spectators as well around the area, and you have so many volunteers and rules official that they could definitely be confirming, hey, your ball got picked up. But this could also happen in just your general playing because you hit into a neighbor fairway and you see that, hey, that guy just took my ball. So obviously the ball is lost in a sense, but it's not caused because you're hitting it out of bounds in the penalty area or somewhere that would actually make the ball to be lost. So in this case, this is very interesting, right?
Common, when we play golf, we always hit some really bad shot to the next fairway. It happens all the time. But the most important thing is you have to make sure your ball is is still there.
Mhm.
It's not into the bushes or not out of bounds or into the water. For Bryson's case, it's very simple because there's so many people around there, and then they saw it, they saw what happened, and a boy or something, someone just picked up the ball and walked away.
So here he would
Mm.
place the ball in the
Okay.
estimated area.
Would be a drop.
It would be a drop.
Yeah, because
Okay.
because you don't know could be you could be right. It's just place the ball there.
Okay.
It's not drop because
Right.
he didn't lose the ball.
Right.
But anyway, when we play golf, we have this kind of situation all the time because when we play the ball to the other fairway, and some people just walk by and they just pick up the ball, but you have to make sure that your ball is on the fairway. So it's not that complicated, but except if the area your ball might land onto is a very complicated terrain with thick, really thick bushes or a thick rough or some trees even, and when you're not sure, your ball is deemed to be a lost ball.
I think what's something to note also in this case, the search for the ball actually exceeded the 3 minutes. However, because it's such a particular and special rule, a special scenario here, they know certainly that the ball was taken away. That's what was fine. But in normal play, even if you find your ball after your 3 minutes, this has changed because the previous rule was 5 minutes.
No, it's 3 minutes.
Now it's 3 for searching your ball.
So you have to find the ball within 3 minutes.
So even if you find your ball outside of 3 minutes, unfortunately, that would be lost.
It's a lost ball then.
So you have to.
Yeah, you have to go back and play your next shot with penalty stroke.
Yeah, so you have to go back to your previous shot where you hit it and take a stroke and distance penalty.
Stroke and distance, yes.
Yes. Okay, so great. So that's kind of the case here. We just kind of revisit, same thing. It's related to outside influence. There's no penalty in this case, and you just replace it.
Right.
Right. So however, there will be a penalty if you kind of just assumed, and it's not.
No, you cannot assume.
Right,
that
you can't assume.
It has to be known or virtually certain that your ball is in that area.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So that basically kind of concludes our 3 cases today. I don't have any other questions I think we've really covered everything. So thanks again for joining us today, and thank you for listening, and I hope to see you again soon. All right, so stay safe and bye.
Bye.